Hi, it's Lucy, and today I'm here to start the reading vlog that I'm doing for the Shadow and Bone trilogy slash Grishaverse trilogy slash the Grisha trilogy. I've been calling it the Grisha trilogy. They renamed the series to the Shadow and Bone trilogy, I feel like, because Leigh Bardugo started releasing other Grisha books. But yeah, it'll always be the Grisha trilogy in my heart. I'm mostly doing this because Rule of Wolves comes out, but I'm slightly doing this because the Shadow and Bone TV show is coming out in April as well. I have already read these books. I actually already own these books. This is a funny story, but basically I own the first trilogy in the original not hardcovers, in the original like paperbacks, like whatever that design was. It'll be right here. But it's at my parents' house, which is in New York. I am currently in Florida. I live in Georgia. So it would cost more in the anguish of trying to get my parents to figure out what books I'm talking about to try and send them to me. So I just rebought it. But like I was saying, I have already read these. It's been a long time. I think it's been maybe 4 or 5 years. I think I read Siege and Storm during my junior year of college, and I'm 24 now. It's been a while. There's a lot of stuff I don't remember. Some background, I actually really enjoyed the series. I know a lot of people aren't huge fans of the first trilogy. I read the first trilogy so that I could read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, which I'm planning to do a reading vlog for as well. I enjoyed them for what they were, and I think I'll enjoy them again this time. This read is to more closely examine Alina and Darkling relationship, because when I first read it, I did not see it at all. I could not understand what everyone was talking about. I was like, is he even a love interest? I do not see it. And I still don't see it. Looking back, I'm like, why did everyone clamp onto this? Like, I felt like he was not a love interest at all. Like, he is just so creepy. I don't see it. I'm gonna be looking more closely to see if I'm missing something, or if everyone just like latches on to any bad boy. And if we want to latch onto a bad boy, Nikolai is right there. I don't know why. Anyway, I have a lot of thoughts. Clearly, this video will not be spoiler-free. This will be spoiler-free for the Six of Crows duology. I will not mention anything that happens in those books in here. So I haven't started reading these. I wanted to show the covers though. Oh my god. I didn't know this was happening. I literally just opened the box. And apparently they come with these fake stickers. I'm so upset. Look at that. I'm no longer excited to have these anymore. I cannot believe they came with these fake stickers forever. That's so disappointing. I'm so upset. And every single one has it. All of them. But, you know, the rest of the cover is pretty. And they cover up part of the... Ugh, I'm so upset. Anyway, this is what they're supposed to look like without being covered. I'm excited to get back into the world. So we'll see where it goes. Thanks for coming along in this journey. And I'll see you once I've made some headway into Shadow and Bone. Hello, it's Editing Lucy. And this is Editing Tucker. Yes, he does sit directly in front of my computer and make it harder for me to type. Isn't that fun? I'm here to tell you that there has been a slight change of plans, as you can probably tell by the title. Basically, I plan to do this video as a whole long video for the entire trilogy, as you could tell by that intro. And I started editing it, and I'm not even halfway through my edit, and it is already almost an hour long, so I've decided to chop up the video into 3 separate videos for each book in the trilogy. So this is the Shadow and Bone video. Next one will be for Siege and Storm, and the one after that will be for Ruin and Rising. They will all be available in a playlist for your viewing pleasure eventually when they are up. I'm hoping to get these up in a relatively quick manner. I just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, I also wanted to do a quick note about the Shadow and Bone trailer. I'm actually really excited for this. I know in the original intro I said that I was only partially doing this for the Shadow and Bone TV show, but now I'm actually really excited for it. I did not expect to be as excited for it as I am, and so let me know how you feel about it down below. I'm not doing a reaction video or anything because this is my reaction. I'm excited. So yes, back to the video. Thank you so much for your patience. Hello, I'm here in a bathrobe to update you guys on Shadow and Bone. Also, I am indeed fully clothed. I'm just cold and heat costs money. So yes, I'm halfway through Shadow and Bone. It's been a long time since I filmed the first clip. Tucker's also here because he thinks it's time for him to eat, but it's not. So halfway through Shadow and Bone, I have some sticky tabs, if you can believe it. Hopefully. And yeah, I want to talk about it. And also, the sticky tabs do not mean anything. I just put a tab down whenever there's something I want to note and talk to you all about in this vlog. And I will probably take out most of these. Some of these might be important to me, and I'll note that when I'm talking. But yeah, there's no real rhyme or reason. It's just something that I thought was interesting. And also the colors mean nothing. It just matches the book, sort of, kind of. So just to go over my thoughts as I was reading. So during this read through, I'm looking for like foreshadowing and like relationship stuff, because obviously I wasn't getting a whole lot of foreshadowing the first time I read it because I didn't know what was going to happen. And relationship stuff, I feel like I missed a lot of things that other people didn't miss. And so I felt really confused whenever people talked about ships with Alina, because I was not thinking about it when I read it, which is just an aspect of me when I'm reading, because I'm very often not super into, or what's the word? In books that, well, like relationships, just romantic relationships, just really didn't matter to me. So yeah, I felt like I missed things, and I did. We'll get there. In the beginning, we get introduced to Alina, we learn a little bit more about Ravka, and we learn about the Unsea, which is like the area of land that was like cursed by, what did they call it? The Great Heretic, or the Dark Heretic? I forget what it's called. We'll get back to it. And it's now cursed and full of evil things that kill anyone who tries to go through it. And so Alina and her regiment, because she's in the army, that's one thing I didn't understand. I still don't understand. Why was she in the army? Like, where I guess all the orphans were just sent to the army, but I feel like they couldn't get any other job. Like, that's very interesting to me. Alina doesn't seem like the type to want to join the army, or at least in my opinion, just from what I remember from reading about her. So I just thought that was weird. Did she just join the army because Mal joined the army? Which could be fair, that could be the reason why, but I just thought it was odd. And yes, so we see everything that happens with the skiff. They get attacked. Alina is the sun summoner. Wow. I was kind of sad when Alexei, the other cartographer she was with, got snatched, stolen. Yeah, I also forgot how dark this book is, because it's not the only one to, die on page. I guess we don't see exactly what happens, but it's mentioned in the book. His screams faded into the sound of battle. And so she was just hearing his screams, and I don't like that. And then we also get a taste of how sassy Alina is, which I forgot. So after this whole thing happens, everyone's so confused how Alina did that burst of light and everything, because she's supposed to not be a Grisha, and she doesn't even know how she did it because she's supposed to not be a Grisha. And so she gets taken to the Darkling to say what her piece, and the cartographer, who's her boss, starts talking about what he saw, and he mentioned that he saw Alexei, not sure how to say that, get taken by the Volcra. And then Alina goes, Alexei might still be alive if you've gotten off your bony ass to help us. Which, we love that. I didn't realize. That felt out of character for what I thought she was, but I guess I really didn't remember, because there are a lot more lines like that in this book, so that was fun. And also, speaking of characters that I really forgot, later when we meet Genya, she is sassy and rude. And I was like, since when is she so rude and mean? So clearly there's a lot I've been forgetting, because I thought she was nice. And so after Alina goes through her whole trial with the Darkling, it's not really a trial. He immediately believes her, basically, because he's an amplifier, so he knows immediately. And then Alina is whisked off to start her life. Honestly, I feel like for a back cover thing, I remember appreciating this about this book, because the back cover tells you all of this already. We know that she's a Grisha, we know she has a special power. This is page 60, so it really doesn't take that long, this is how much of the book it is, before Alina finds out that she's a Grisha, which we already know, and then we get to move on and actually experience things with the characters. So I really appreciate that about this book. We also see some drops of the oppression that the regular people who aren't Grisha feel, because Alina gets a kefta, which is the large coat that Grishas wear, and they're very colorful, and she describes it very soft and has a fur lining that's very warm, and it's because it's a special cloth made by Grisha. Alina says something like it didn't seem fair that the oprichniki, which I think is the upper class is what that's supposed to mean. I can't remember if there's a glossary in the back of this. And Grisha wore cord cloth, which is what the kefta is made of, while ordinary soldiers went without. Just a little hint of how certain people are treated differently in this society, so there's that. And then while they're on their way to the little palace, great palace, Alina gets attacked, and we get another scene of action, which I actually really liked. And that's the first time we see Alina be scared, truly scared of the Darkling, I think. But then she feels comfortable with him again, and he hugs her or something and helps her onto a horse, because she's out of it because she was attacked. And then, like, later that day or the next day or something, they stop to make camp while they're still heading that way, and we see an example of how the Darkling uses his power, if that makes, not uses his power, but gets people on his side because they have dinner, and the Darkling takes only his share and he eats alongside his soldiers. And so that kind of shows that he's like a man of the people. And then we spend a lot of time with Alina training, getting used to being at the little palace, not really having a lot of friends, missing Mal, etc. She feels out of place because she didn't grow up there. And she also notes how like the Grisha are treated, whereas when she was on the battlefield, they are at war technically, and she was in the military, but obviously some of these Grisha are also in the Grisha military and they have way better amenities. It's just pointed out. And we also meet Zoya, who will be important. Zoya is all of the characters that I forgot about were terrible. Not terrible, but she's so mean to Alina for a reason, but also no reason, and I just wanted to point that out. Like I said, Alina's at the little palace missing Mal. She's also becoming great friends with Genya. I wanted to point that out, but she's missing Mal, and she finally has Genya look into where he is because she's been writing him letters and he hasn't responded, and basically Genya finds out that he's stationed somewhere, he's fine, and you can write to him. Yeah, so basically he was just ignoring her. The thing is, I don't remember if Mal actually ignores her or if the Darkling maybe was intercepting her letters. I'm not sure. We'll find out at the end of this, but it could be that. But anyway, this is the catalyst that Alina needed to like let go of Mal because he like doesn't care about her, or she thinks he doesn't care about her. And she realized basically that this whole time she was holding back because of Mal. And she like literally was making herself sick because when you're a Grisha and you don't use your power, it's not good for you. So she was like holding it down because of Mal so she can stay with Mal. And that did not occur to me in the first time I read this series. I really did not think about that. But yeah, she did it all for a boy. And to be fair, she was an orphan. He was the only family she knew. I feel like it kind of makes sense, but like optically, I guess. But after this, Alina starts excelling. She starts doing everything right. She can finally start using her power without an amplifier, and it's all great. And then we see the Darkling kissed Alina. So this whole time, I'm thinking everyone's just making things up. When they talk about the Darkling and Alina, like I had no memory of this kiss happening. So he kisses her, they kiss. Alina thinks about it for days, and then he comes back for this big ball, and Alina does a performance. All the Grisha do a performance, and then he drags her into a back corner, like a back room or something, and they kiss some more. And I'm like, what? Like I had no memory that happened. None. So this whole time I'm thinking everybody's just reading into everything like, no, that definitely did happen, but I still don't see the Darkling in any kind of romantic way for Alina. Like I feel like in the next book, like it's gonna go away, maybe, I don't know. I was like, I know he doesn't stand a chance. So it doesn't work for me, but yes, they do kiss twice, multiple times. I was shocked. On a slightly more sober note, one of the things I just read was about Genya and what happened with her and the king. We talk about, kind of glossed over, but I don't expect to go into a lot of detail about her sexual assault, basically, where she was forced to be with the king. And she says the worst part of it is that everyone knows. At the end of that, Alina's like, the Darkling should have protected you, and Genya says he has, more than you know. Besides, he's as much a slave to the whims of the king as the rest of us, at least for now. And we have some more foreshadowing. Yeah, so that's basically where I'm at right now. They're about to discuss getting the stag for Alina's new amplifier that the Darkling wants her to have so that she can like have true control over power and do amazing things and get rid of the fold, also known as the Unsee. That's where I'm at. I'm hoping to finish this pretty soon. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm enjoying it about as much as I enjoyed it the last time. And I did enjoy it a lot the last time. I think my rating for it was 4 stars. I'm probably gonna give it 4 stars again, at least where I am right now, halfway through the book. There's a lot happening that I completely forgot, which I feel like is gonna make this reread even more enjoyable. I knew there were a bunch of things that I forgot because when I read King of Scars, I couldn't remember a lot of things. And that one definitely deals with a lot more of the fallout of this trilogy, so I'm glad to be rereading it. Also, last thing, I just wanna show you where Tucker is. It's very funny. finally finished Shadow and Bone, so I'm here to give my thoughts on it. This took me a lot longer to finish reading than I expected. I don't really think it was the book's fault, it was more me. I'm just not reading that much lately. So yes, I'm glad to say that I finally finished this. This was an enjoyable reading experience for me. I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as the first time I read it. The first time I read it, I felt like I was having like good old fun, if that makes sense. Like, yes, there's a lot of sad things in here, but it just felt like a fun fantasy read, if that makes sense. This one, it still felt like that. I just didn't enjoy it as much. I can't remember where I left off in the last clip, but I think I mentioned how the Darkling kissed Alina. Some more stuff happened. They had a demonstration and the Darkling kissed Alina again. And then after they have that whole weird kissing scene, which I honestly thought was so weird. I can't believe I completely blocked that out of my mind, but I did. Alina goes back to her room and she meets Mal on the way there, who has come to start tracking the Morozova's herd, which is a group of moose? Stag? What are stags? Aren't they? They're male deer, right? So yes, they're a group of stags that are said to have like magical powers, and the Darkling really wants them to become Alina's amplifier so that she can like destroy the fold. Alina meets Mal because he's there to start tracking, and Alina gets so excited to see Mal, and she's so excited, but Mal is being really rude to her. So while I was reading this section, I was like, oh, maybe this is why everybody hates Mal. But I feel like the rest of the book doesn't track with that. But anyway, he's being really rude to her. He's really rude about everything that happened. Alina's like, why didn't you answer my letters? You couldn't even bother to answer my letters, and you're being rude now. I don't know why you don't like me anymore. And they have this big fight for literally no reason. And then immediately after this, Baghra shows up. And she's like, the Darkling is my evil son. You have to run away or else you're going to be under his control. And Alina immediately believes her, which honestly, the Darkling brings that up later when he comes back, because obviously we're gonna see him again. And he's like, Baghra told you one thing and you just immediately believed her. And it's because deep in Alina's heart, she knew something was not right with that man. And she runs away. We spend a lot of time with her running away, and then Mal eventually tracks her and like abandons his post, I think is what it's called. Like he abandons the army to go with her, and they decide to, first they were gonna run away, but then they decide to track the herd so that she can get the amplifier for herself, because the issue was that if the Darkling kills the animal, then he has like the power over it, so he could control Alina. So they're going to do it so Alina can kill it herself and she'll have control over it, and then maybe she could fix the shadow fold. So they do all of that. They find a stag. Mal is like, oh my god, kill it, kill it, kill it. And Alina's like, no, I can't. And then the Darkling shows up and kills it, and it's like, okay, now you're under my control. And also Mal is gonna die. And he like takes Alina back. He had apparently lied to everyone and was like, Alina's just praying while we prepare to enter the fold. And that's that. And the Darkling is basically like, I'm gonna kill Mal in the shadow fold, or I'm gonna let the Volcra kill Mal. And then you'll be mine forever and ever and ever, because you're gonna live a long, long life like me. And we're gonna control everything, because the Darkling wants to extend the shadow fold. I forgot to mention that. He wants to extend it and use that to control other countries and people, and being like, oh, I can just plow the shadow fold in whatever direction I want. I can move it to your country and destroy your people if you don't fall into line with what I say. And that's his plan. And then they get to the shadow fold, and he does extend it and destroys a whole town, which I now have remembered what will happen in the future. So this is a good thing that I'm rereading. He has ambassadors from Fjorda, I feel like it should be Fjorda, and the Shu, and I think there was a Ravkin person there, and they were like, you destroyed our people, you destroyed Ravkins. The guy's like, I'm gonna tell the king. And the Darkling's like, I'll just bring the shadow fold to the king. I'll bring it to the big palace. What's the other one called? There's a little palace, and then the palace, the other palace. I could look it up, but I don't feel like it. And so he's power hungry, and then Mal is about to die, and Alina realizes that she can control the collar that was made out of the stag, because she spared the stag's life, which gives her just as much control over the stag as someone who took his life, which does not make any sense to me. And like, if that were true, I feel like as soon as it was on, the Darkling shouldn't have been able to control her at all, if that's what was happening. Like, she had to fight him for some reason, but then he couldn't get control back. If it's supposed to be like equal power, then he should be able to get control back, and like, they should have to fight about it more. Like, she shouldn't just overpower him once and now he can't do it anymore. So that did not make any sense to me, but it was necessary for the story so that Alina and Mal can escape. Alina leaves everyone who was with them in the Shadowfold to die. Most of them didn't, I'm pretty sure. And that's where the story ends. And then we have the epilogue where they go on a ship and they're going somewhere. I don't remember. So overall, my feelings, like I said, I enjoyed this not as much as I liked it the last time, but I think I'm still going to give it 4 stars. I'm not going to revise the rating or anything. Like I mentioned, I was going into this to understand people's enamoring, why people like the Darkling and Alina so much. And I still don't see it. I feel like after the end of this, like he's done. Like I don't know how anyone thought it could go any other way after this happened. Also, there's one scene in here, I forgot. There's one scene in here that I liked. I mean, there were a few scenes in here that I liked, but one that is about the Darkling, where the Darkling is admonishing her for leaving and running away. And she says, "You didn't give me much choice." And he says, "Of course you had a choice, and you chose to turn your back on your country, on everything that you are." And she says that isn't fair. Fairness? Still, she talks of fairness. What does fairness have to do with any of this? The people curse my name and pray for you, but you're the one who was ready to abandon them. And I just want to say, if you wanted people to not curse your name, maybe you should not have chosen the name the Darkling for yourself. I'm just saying. And also, you are literally ready to kill people. Don't truly understand it. Like, of course they fear you. You do not give a fuck about any of them because you use them as pawns in your game. Another thing that I'm confused about, if Alina has the power to disrupt the Shadowfold, which she did when they were in there, she was like doing stuff. Like, how is she supposed to cure it on her own? I don't get it. Like, what is the plan here? I guess we'll find out in the future books, because if she was already in there and she gained power, she could have just done it then, right? Or at least part of it, gotten rid of part of the Shadowfold, but she didn't. So yeah, I don't understand what's happening. Maybe she just doesn't know how to use her power that well now because she has that additional collar. So maybe in the next book she learns, I don't remember. We're gonna find out. I do have it right here, and I'm planning to just continue on, and I'll update you guys when I make some headway into Ruin and Rising, the 2nd book. And this is when we meet my favorite character in the series, most people's favorite character in the series, honestly. And yeah, I'm so excited. Y'all just let me look like a fool. So the 2nd book is Siege and Storm, not Ruin and Rising. I don't know how I did that. They were in the wrong order on my nightstand, so I just thought the next one was the next one, but that's wrong. So this is Siege and Storm, the actual 2nd book in the series. So my bad. I started reading Ruin and Rising, and I was like, what is happening?